Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to everyone, ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers. We are honored to have Mr. Chris AR Blauvelt, the CEO and founder of LaunchGood. As a matter of fact, LaunchGood was the IsDB Prize winner for the impactful achievement in Islamic economics and finance in the year 2021. Welcome to Jeddah, Mr. Chris.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. I'm honored to be here.
The honor is ours, sir. And we would like to know a bit more about your, professional and personal background before we ask you more questions about the project itself.
Yeah, excellent. So I'm half Irish, so I'm going to tell stories when I say anything. But really quickly, when I was 22, I was studying Arabic in Jordan, and is at a center called the Qasid Institute. It's an excellent institute for Arabic, and the founder of it is an American Muslim, and I really admired him, and I asked him for advice, like, how can I be like you? And he said, spend your 20s learning as much as you can, and the challenge is when you get comfortable, you got to quit and do something totally different and get out of your comfort zone, because growth happens outside your comfort zone. So my background is crazy. I have a degree in mechanical engineering. I worked at Intel in California as an industrial engineer. I got a master's in educational leadership. I became a high school math teacher and a basketball coach. Then I started an Arabic nonprofit. Then I started a film company. And the film company got me into crowdfunding because we had a movie in 2010 go to the Sundance Film Festival called Bilal's Stand. And we did a Kickstarter project. So Kickstarter was one of the first crowdfunding platforms. I was the first Muslim to do crowdfunding. I fell in love with crowdfunding. And I thought if we had a Muslim Kickstarter, a Muslim crowdfunding platform, it'd be so inspiring for the world, especially for the Muslim world. And so I started that. And by the time we started it, I was 29 years old. So that was all this kind of crazy background that led to me starting LaunchGood.
I can only say nothing but mashallah, mashallah. You are such a multi-spectrum individual. Social science, engineering, sports, because I'm myself a sports freak as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What sports?
Ping pong, tennis court, football, basketball, swimming.
You guys have that sport where you it's sort of like volleyball, but you use your feet.
We call it takraw in my language.
Takraw.
Yeah. That can be quite technical. If you have the background in martial arts, that will be helpful.
I saw that.
Because of the high kick and everything.
Yep.
So anyhow, let's go back to our why we are here in the first place. Reflecting on your, how you have been triggered to initiate the project. What are the two keywords that really set your project apart from the rest?
I'd say our project is very authentically from the Muslim community. So if you look at the founders of LaunchGood, none of us are computer developers. We're not MBA graduates. But what unites the three founders is we're all very active in the Muslim community, where we were living at the time. And that translates to the work itself. That if you look at LaunchGood, the soul of LaunchGood is really there for the community. And I think a lot of the technical aspects, anyone can figure out those technical aspects if you work hard enough, you have enough grit, if you have a growth mindset. But you can't, program in a soul to your work. And I think that's what we were very blessed with LaunchGood.
What are the typical lingering questions that normally inhibits, if I can call the new kids on the block in the field of entrepreneurship, is for them to have the confidence. Is my idea good enough? Is it workable? Can it be impactful? So in your experience, inshallah, it has been very successful. And there are so many accolades that you have received as a person as well as the organization. What made you have the confidence in the success of your idea as well as your projects?
I wouldn't say I ever had confidence in it, like from the start at least. Right? I remember in the very beginning of LaunchGood, we're going to say, okay, we're going to build this like a traditional Silicon Valley company. And so we registered a corporation in Delaware, and we flew out to the Bay Area. We met with all these investors, and I met with a very reputable Muslim angel investor. He's actually an investor in Indiegogo and some other platforms. And right away, he sits down and he's like, is this $1 billion idea? And I'm like, whoa, I just started. How do I know it's $1 billion idea? He said, Chris, if you can't believe in what you're doing, I can't believe for you. I met with 3 founders today, and all of them believed that their ideas are $1 billion ideas. And that shook me. I was like, man, but how can I believe, I don't have any traction to prove it? I believe those 3 businesses are all dead today. Mm-hmm. But LaunchGood is the business that is alive, and now I believe it's $1 billion idea. Mm-hmm. And I believe that I can believe it because we've been doing it for almost 10 years, right. And I've seen the success of it.
Right.
And there's an Arabic saying, "An-najah tulad an-najah," that success gives birth to more success. So I never really, worried about, do I believe this is going to be $1 billion idea? It was more like, do I believe this is going to work? And I could see every year we were doubling. So I knew that, again, maybe because I was a math teacher, how exponential growth works, that, hey, if we can just keep doubling, even though we're starting from a small place, it's going to end up at a great place. I think the second thing that really helped me is both of my parents are entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. So I know how hard it can be. Mm-hmm. I know it takes patience. My mother always tells me, you need to give your business 3 years to know, is it going to be successful? And with my film business, for example, the very first year we have a movie go to Sundance, we're making this money, we're traveling to Hollywood, we're on the red carpet, it's very successful. But by the end of the 3rd year, it was we couldn't, it was just a dying business. Mm-hmm. LaunchGood was the opposite. The first year was very modest, but then the second year was better, and the 3rd year was better. And I could see, by the way, those first 3 years, I didn't even pay myself. Mm-hmm. But I could see that if we could just keep going, mm-hmm. that it's going to get to a great place. And alhamdulillah, we have.
Alhamdulillah. And in this kind of endeavor, do you believe in 2 things? Mentorship and team efforts?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the mentorship, you can't overstate how important the mentorship is. Mm-hmm. And LaunchGood from the very beginning was supported by so many established entrepreneurs. I've already mentioned my parents, mashallah. Mm-hmm. There was a very famous Muslim entrepreneur named Shahid Amanullah, the founder of Zabiha.com and the Zabiha app. But even what's interesting is non-Muslims. So we're in America, we're in a city called Detroit, and we were working in a co-working space, and the founder of that co-working space became one of our mentors. Another person in there who himself had started many businesses, failed, had some success, he became one of our mentors. It's been 9 years, actually 10 years, because the first year, we spent 1 year just building it. So 10 years since I moved in the Green Garage. 3 days ago, I just had lunch with that mentor again, and we spent 2 hours going over some of the latest issues and challenges I have. So you can't do it without mentorship. And then team effort, I mean, people say, LaunchGood is so successful because of you. Sometimes I say LaunchGood is so successful in spite of me. Maybe I'm the one holding LaunchGood back for more because there's been so many incredible people that help build this. And that's really the job of the CEO. The CEO is not the one that should be, producing every solution, but getting the right people on the team that can do the effort that leads to success.
And in this regard, how has the IsDB Prize, do you think, further your success and how winning an award has changed you as a person or as a professional, as well as the project itself? The IsDB Prize, we're very blessed at LaunchGood. We won the IsDB Prize. Previous to that, we also won this ethical finance award called Ethica. And previous to that, the American Muslim Consumer Conference, AMCC. And all 3 of these awards, absolutely critical, especially for a bootstrapped, kind of cash-strapped startup like ourselves. These awards become game changers. Mm-hmm. Because all of a sudden you have enough money to buy new laptops, you have enough money to invest in some new business development that takes your business to a whole new level. And if it wasn't for organizations like IsDB pushing these initiatives, I mean, it's not going to happen. There's no one else doing this out there. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of institutional support for the Islam economy. So I think it's really exciting to see, and we benefit obviously directly, but I think for the economy as a whole, people feel there are institutions trying to support this, trying to help it grow, and it gives new entrepreneurs more confidence that, I'll take a risk and
do my best to, I'll take a risk and I'll go for this as well because
Yeah.
I see that there's support in this community.
You know what, Chris, the other thing that really amazes me is the fact that even the non-Muslims can really be part of your endeavors and be part of the sort of goals as well. That's very admirable.
Yeah. It surprises us at times. Very famously, we had a campaign where after, I hope it's not too political to say, but after Donald Trump was elected in America in 2016, there was a wave of kind of anti-Semitic violence, so targeting Jewish people in America, and especially, for some reason, vandalizing and destroying their graveyards. And there's a Muslim organization called Celebrate Mercy that supports, they support kind of other communities in the spirit of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We say he was a mercy to mankind, rahmatul lil alamin, like all mankind, not just the Muslim community. So they started raising, a few $1,000s to help rebuild these cemeteries. And the news picked up on, because in America, the story is that Muslims and Jews hate each other. That's the perception in America. And of course, we have our issues in Israel and Palestine, but for the most part, over 1,500 years of history, Muslims and Jews have had very good relationships. The Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had a very good, relationship with the Jews and allyship in Medina. And I could go on and on about the history of it, but it's not a surprise to Muslims to see something like this. But it was a surprise to Western media. And so it ended up getting picked up by all the news channels, from CNN to Fox News to New York Times, and then the famous author of Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, she came across it, and then she tweeted it out. And because she tweeted it, the whole website crashed, and it was kind of a disaster, but also kind of a big accomplishment. You're like, wow, mashallah, we had something that was, so inspiring, not just for Muslims, for the whole world. It was so inspiring that it caused our website to be crashed. So we hope that LaunchGood is playing a role in this as well, that changing the narrative of Muslims.
Right. And you know what, the other things that makes me really pleased today is that we can have in-person or physical interactions now, because otherwise everything would have been done online. And and in regard to this, we have survived, all of us, irrespective of wherever we are coming from. 3 Hajj seasons, 3 Eid al-Fitr, 3 Ramadans, and hopefully things are opening up and getting back to normal. But reflecting on this, what has been the unique challenge, Chris, or even benefit of your solutions, your project during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, at the heart of it, we have to remember that LaunchGood is a tech business. And so almost all the tech businesses actually benefited tremendously from COVID-19 because people were forced to go online. So, for example, we saw our growth triple in 2020 when COVID hit. That's it's crazy, it's crazy growth. Now we're seeing it slow down because people are going back to in-person fundraisers, etc. But we're also very interested in how can we bring the experience of LaunchGood in person. And going beyond just crowdfunding even. So this summer, we put together our first ever endeavor outside of crowdfunding called the Global Muslim Workation. We hosted it in Istanbul, and we brought together 35 companies, 192 people from across the world. We spent 2 weeks working out of the same space in Istanbul. And so it was, instead of crowdfunding, we could say it was crowdsourcing talents from across the Muslim world. And it was very beautiful. So I think COVID was a great opportunity for us, for the world, to realize the importance of actual human relationships.
Indeed. And if turning back the clock is possible, Chris, is there anything at all that you would have done differently in your perhaps professional life or even in your personal life?
I'm so grateful for where I am today. On a personal level, on a professional level, I wouldn't change anything. And even I don't think it's a healthy thing, probably too much to look back. But I will say, going forward, when I think about going forward, having really high ambitions. That's really, we should never doubt, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do with us. And we know that at least we get what we intend. And as an entrepreneur, who's to limit your growth? anything can happen. And so at this point, I'm always trying to push myself, remind myself, like, don't get comfortable. Yeah, you've had a lot of success to this point, but it should be that, 10 years from now, when we look back at this moment, it's like, oh, remember when LaunchGood was just like this little crowdfunding time? Oh, that's cute. Did like $350 million of funding, now it's in billions. Like that. That's the mindset I want to have. One of my favorite athlete of all time is Tom Brady. He's a quarterback. He went
American soccer?
No, American football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, American football. He went to my college, University of Michigan, and then he also played for my favorite, team where I grew up, New England Patriots. He won many Super Bowls, like many of the championships. Mm-hmm. And so they asked him, you won 7, 8 champions. Which is your favorite championship? He said, my favorite championship is the next one. Mm-hmm. So he's not looking back, but he's always looking for like the next one. And so that's how I like to think about, my favorite LaunchGood campaign is that next groundbreaking one that's coming up, inshallah.
Wow. And on that note, Chris, any advice, 3 keywords, if you can pick for the millennial generations who aspires to be successful in economic development, Islamic economics and finance?
Yeah. Key advice I'd give, one, I'd repeat that advice that one of the co-founders of Qasim Institute, Muhammad Mar'i, gave me, which is spend your 20s challenging yourself to grow as much as you can, and having trust that by the time you get to 30, all those experiences will collate into something special. The second is, and I think this is maybe unique for our generation, and especially Gen Z, the world doesn't owe you anything. Like, they don't owe you anything. Like, ISDB doesn't owe us anything. Nobody, Muslims don't owe us anything. Like, we don't just get to say, hey, because we're a Muslim crowdfunding platform, people should be using us. No, we have to do our very best, both according to, let's say, the mainstream or kind of secular performance, but also according to Muslim values. Work hard. And I'll leave it at that. I'll say, grow as much as you can, challenge yourself to grow. And then the second thing is be ready to put in the hard work, because the world doesn't owe you anything.
What a moment, full of wisdom, very insightful point of view. Thank you so much for gracing your presence. And we hope that you will enjoy your stay in Jeddah.
Already am.
And any plan for Umrah or visiting Medina?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I told them, of course, I have to. So inshallah, tomorrow we go to Umrah. Wednesday we'll go to Medina, inshallah.
And again, we would like to extend our congratulations on winning the prize in 2021. And I'm sure it will inspire so many young generations, even myself, the so-called millennial generation.
You made me think of a third piece of advice.
Please.
So my third piece of advice, if you're going to be in the Islamic economy, is to travel. Travel and meet Muslims. Like, you're from Indonesia, I think, huh? Which part?
Malang, East Java.
East Java. So I've never been there, but I bet it's really special.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
And I'd love to visit,
Of course.
And that's one of the things I've been blessed with, mashallah. I'm embarrassed to say, but Morocco, Turkey, Jordan, Saudi, UAE, Singapore, Indonesia, Malaysia. There's so many parts of the Muslim world, and even beyond that, like Australia is not a Muslim country, New Zealand is not a Muslim country, but you go there, you get to meet the Muslims there.
Yeah.
And that's how the Islamic economy is. The Islamic economy is not one country or two. Like we say, Indonesia, I think, is the largest Muslim majority country as a market, right? Like 200 million Muslims or something, right?
Yeah.
It's only 10% of the global Muslims.
Indeed.
There's 2 billion.
Yes.
What an amazing community. What an amazing economy. And so I'd say travel. If you're young, you got the energy, COVID restrictions are being lifted, get out there, meet Muslims, meet the community, see who you're serving. It's really an honor.
Chris, we all really enjoy every bit of moment with you. Thank you so much for that. And sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your kind attention and for listening to our very insightful interview with our winner here. On that note, we would like to end our brainstorming discussion. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.